This podcast is rated R for restricted. Under 17 requires accompanying parent or adult guardian. Mission 250.
Welcome to the Mission 250 Filmcast, where we are watching the top 250 movies of all time according to IMDb. You can go to our website, mission250filmcast.com, where we have our list frozen. You can check it out and see the old episodes as well. I am easily waddled by a wabble of waddy webbles, and joining me all...
Red Sea pedestrian.
Well done. This is John.
Terrence, DC, whatever.
And this week we are watching number 173, The Life of Brian, directed by Terry Jones. The synopsis of this movie is: Brian is born on the original Christmas in the stable next door. He spends his life being mistaken for a messiah. John, would you like to describe what we do on this podcast each week?
Have you been practicing this for like a day?
I am impressed.
John?
What? Yes.
Describe it, please.
Yes, I will describe it to you.
Nautius Maximus.
I'm not going to do this. So we have frozen the top 250 movies as rated by IMDb users. We froze it in time, and we're going them in backwards order. So every week we watch one and we talk about it, and TC doesn't like things.
I hate things.
I talk too much, and Denny has too many facts.
Yes, too many.
That's a good way to describe it.
Yes. And this week, TC, it is your turn to go first.
Oh, well, this is a good one. This is funny. I watched it with my mother, and we were cackling. And I think she had seen it a long time ago, but
we gotta have your mom as a guest at some point.
We might be able to now because she's living here now. So,
okay.
yeah. So
right.
I won't get into all that, but yeah, she's here for a while.
Are we just here in the background? What are you doing?
Yeah, she's not here. She's not over today, but she's not too far away, and she won't be leaving anytime soon. So we may have her on the show before you know it.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a fun one, man. This was like I was laughing pretty good with this.
And you've not seen this before.
No, I had not seen this before, and I was actually glad that I was watching with my mom because I am not religious at all, and a lot of these jokes went right over my head until she explained it.
Oh.
So I didn't know a lot of this like Christian joke stuff from England back in the whatever they made this. So I was missing jokes left and right, and then I'd like pause it and she explained. I'm like, oh, that's really funny. That's really funny, you know. But it would worry me like that someone who's also not religious might watch this and not get the full extent of the comedy because it's deep.
I'm just imagining your mom as the Virgin Mandy being there. Oh, you see, there's Jesus.
You're not too far up. You're not too far. I need a butt, I need a butt. And then she'd go have a cigarette and come back and talk about
Boston Virgin Mandy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this was funny. I have a hard time even reading my notes at this point. I watched it too long ago. I should have rewatched it again because I could do it. This one for sure. I could definitely rewatch it.
That's true. We were in between on technical difficulties on this one, so we had quite a bit of time.
Things are breaking left and right. The world's collapsing.
Yeah. We're back.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, we're something. All right.
New technology.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go on too much about it because it's not something that you need to get too deep on. It's just watch and enjoy and laugh. Quick-witted, politically relevant, kind of timeless.
Yeah.
It's funny. The British, they seem so polite. Don't they? Even they get away with some people. Yeah. They just seem so polite. And I think my favorite part is when the crowd was laughing at him. I mean, it's just too funny, and he's just going on and on and on, and they're just dying laughing. I mean, I almost hope that that's what the old Roman times were like. There
was one scene. I think it was. I don't know if it was the crowd too. It's one of the bits of trivia is that like when he's talking about his friend Biggest Dickus, like they were told they weren't told what he was going to say. They were saying just don't laugh. Oh, that was before.
That was like when all the centurions were standing around.
Yeah. So in those scenes, they were actually told, look, all you have to do is not laugh. And so like all of them trying not to laugh is sincere, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love the crucifixion is the first offense.
Yeah.
That was clever as hell. Like, oh, well, it's crucifixion. Oh, you're in for crucifixion? Oh, yeah. Oh, that sucks. Yeah. First offense. Yeah. Cool. I mean, really, that's some funny shit. I would think any real Christian might not like this one. I'm not sure. I don't know how they would take it, but
People were
mean,
pissed. Yeah.
I bet they were
There
at
was
the
all
time.
these
Yeah.
protests and whatnot. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they say that, they didn't want to parody Jesus because they looked at what he said and they're like, no, we liked what he said. So they didn't make fun of Christ at all. They just made fun of the times and just created these silly situations around it. But they weren't like poking fun at Jesus really either.
It was really about poking fun of the followers for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah. So that might be insulting. But yeah, it's it's pretty funny stuff.
What do you think, John?
Yeah, I love it. I've seen this film so many times that that's about the only downside is that I don't know how good it is in some ways, just because I just like, oh yeah, I remember this. It's like all this stuff is so very familiar that I don't get this sense. I envy TC being able to watch it for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, so it's and I grew up like Catholic, so a lot of this stuff I did know. But it's just right from the beginning. It's so awesome. Just like, who are you? What do you got there? It's just what? Just falling a star? It's awesome. Just that. I mean, just the questioning of it, just like the grouchy mom being like, yeah, I just love that. So it's such a great tone for the whole thing. And there's some like it is like a sketch. So like some of the sketches are like some are like like the spaceship thing. It's like whatever.
Super weird.
But it's weird. But it's all very brief. Those other so like it's like Saturday Night Live, but much better. But still, it's like some of the sketches are kind of hit or miss. And some are just amazingly good. But I just love the situations. They just have such a great way of just sort of showing the absurdity of some things, or just thinking of a different angle on something. Like the idea of like Jesus' Sermon on the Mount, where he's sitting there talking to throngs of people, and there's people in the back that can't hear him, right?
Yeah.
And they just starting with that simple idea that it's like, what do you say? I just think that's really just brilliant stuff. And I mean, they just have such great twists on things, like the leper who was cured and put out of a job. So he's just following people
Arms for an
around.
ex-leper?
Like, yeah.
What?
Yeah. So I think so there's just such great little twists on things that just sort of make you think about stuff like the idea of, it's such a great idea, just like of Jesus healing somebody that didn't want to be healed. It's just, I don't know. It's just really cool. Yeah, all of it's wonderful. And it's so, like you said, TC, not only is it polite, it seems lighthearted. It doesn't seem mean-spirited. And maybe that's the other thing that happens with this British comedy stuff. It doesn't feel like they're being mean about it. Even they're being really cutting, but it still feels like very, I don't know, whimsical, I guess. I don't know what the word is.
Yeah, that's a good word for it. Whimsical.
I mean, before this, they went after. We'll get to see this one. We'll get to see the Monty Python's Holy Grail, where they go after Arthurian legend, which for England is a big deal, and they skewer that. And so I think it's just lots of, I don't know, it's lots of fun. Just an amazing movie. I think that it's like, I don't know, it just there's just so many funny parts to it, and they're just like, I don't know, it's just so absurd that it makes you laugh at yourself, and it makes you think differently about life. Like take stoning, and they're going to make a pretty hilarious sketch about stoning.
I mean, like really.
I think that's so beautiful. That
And it takes some gall to do that too. I mean, it's not an interesting thing to make fun of.
Yeah, I know it is, but it's like, we're gonna have the stoning sketch,
and like someone's like, all right, that sounds funny. Yeah, that's gonna be funny, right? Like
the next one who says Jehovah. Wait. It's just awesome. I mean,
and women aren't allowed there for some reason, and they all have to buy fake beards, but they're all men pretending to be women, pretending to be men.
Right. I don't even know why. Yeah, like maybe part of the whimsicalness of it, it's like, okay, women are allowed, so let's just say women really want to go to these things, because why would they not be allowed? Whatever. Yeah. So they're like, so let's just say women really want to be there, so then we'll have all these women pretending to be men. It's like, all right.
I think it's just because they like doing that. I'm a priest.
I think they do too. Yeah.
No, she did. I mean, he did. It's just, again, it's just really funny. I mean, so I had like a goofy smile on my face the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
I know this movie
That's a
really
great.
well.
I think that sums it up. Had a goofy smile on the whole time.
Yeah.
So go, Denny. What do you got?
So I think that the movie is very funny. I I kind of wish it was more than it is for some reason. I think I was also raised Catholic. I kind of want it to be more cutting. When you said the word cutting, I associate that with negativity, kind of. Like there's like mean-spiritedness to being cutting. To me, I don't know if that's right or not, but there's like no mean-spiritedness to this movie.
There's not. Yeah.
And I kind of don't like that. I kind of want it to like go after.
They wish they were vicious. Yeah, I think, but that's not their style. I mean, I think that there's a place for that too. This is just not. That's not their style.
Yeah, but I mean, also, I don't think because of that, because it's not getting at the real issues. I guess it didn't seem like there was any substance in the jokes. Kind of. Hilarious as it is, and I will say that it's a comedy, so that's all you can really say. But I found myself laughing more at like the stutterer guy and the lisp guy and like just stupid stuff than anything relating to like the setting or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Well, I think
that's kind of what they were going for, though, right? I mean,
well,
it was also a different time back then. I mean, Catholics were more in charge then.
I don't know. If you were, my feeling, why I like Monty Python and this kind of comedy so much is just the point is that life is silly, and that it's very absurd, and that's kind of, it helps you not worry it or be so stressed out about things. I think that's what I really value about this kind of comedy. It's just you take some things that some people take very seriously, and you just show how silly it all is. And you do it in a kind way. You don't do it in a way that's like putting the people down. Even I don't even think it's just more. Just showing a general silliness. But I see your point too, Denny, that it's like at the same time, you could argue that some comedy does this too. Like I think South Park would do this at times too, that you don't really take a stand. You just sort of poke fun at everybody, or you just do it shallowly. So you're not really necessarily, you don't really deserve this taking credit for having some kind of real, and I doubt if the Monty Python people were doing it. They're probably just saying they're having a good time. And they're having fun. They're also enjoying provoking people, but because they like for a while they were like saying that they were going to call this film Jesus Lust for Glory.
Oh, God.
That would have been worse. That was good thing they didn't do that.
That would have been awful for them.
I know, but they just enjoyed saying that. They knew better than to actually call it that. But it was, I think they're just enjoying getting that rise out of people. But that's not necessarily like they have a mission either to like dispense with religion or anything like that. And so you can see in some ways like I don't think they deserve. Who's to say that they really want that kind of like credit in terms of like being really cutting or really making a statement about religion. I think it feels more like they're just like talking about everything is silly.
But then also like there's some parts of it where like for example, say like the part where John Cleese is talking about, he's like, well, besides the aqueduct, the roads, the what do the Romans give us? And so, I mean, that's funny.
I love like besides
that's
all
true.
these things,
but
that was great.
What's the point of that? Like, what is it trying to say besides like, oh, he's
nothing,
he's stupid,
nothing,
and he
it's
doesn't
not
realize
trying to say anything.
Well, the point is that they're also sort of revolutionaries to be revolutionaries, I guess, and that's kind of the point.
But is it pro-Roman, the movie? Because it kind of is in that part.
No. Right.
In the instant, I don't know.
No, it was a joke on the fact that they were complaining about nothing at that. I don't know.
Right. Well, they're still occupied. I think it's just showing the absurdity of that. Like that on one hand, you want your own mess. You don't, even if the people that occupy you and take you over are better, you still kind of want your own, you'd rather rule yourself,
Right.
And that's, that certainly makes sense. Like even if we had, people, if some country invaded us and made all the trains run on time and fixed all the roads and whatever, we'd be pissed.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of, it's not necessarily pro-Roman. It's just saying that's the situation these people are in. The Romans came in, they have all this better technology, and they actually did generally a good job for a while in terms of when they would conquer people. As long as everybody played nice, they improved their society. And that's not an uncommon thing in terms of conquering people. It's not always the style of there are other conquerors that would just be more about enslavement and what have you. So I think it's just more the absurdity of that situation where you're like, we've been conquered, but they're better than us.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess just for the sake of, comedies are hard to talk about because all you could do is say, that part was funny. So I'm going to play the contrarian.
They're not like deep. This isn't deep thinking, right?
I'm going to play the contrarian this episode, and you guys can explain to me why I'm wrong.
That's good. I could use some positivity in my world.
Graham Chapman as the lead. What do you guys think about him? Do you ever laugh directly at Graham Chapman, Brian?
No, he is not there. He's the straight man. He is not there to be. He's there to sort of like.
He's the Ben Stiller of this movie.
Yeah. He's there to kind of play like the audience, be like, this is all. What is the? He's not there to be the funny man. And that's why like John Cleese initially kind of wanted that role, but stepped back, saying it was better for Graham to play it, and it's better for John Cleese to play the more absurd roles.
Because John Cleese is funny.
He is. He really
is fucking hilarious. Nobody
so
yells
good.
like John Cleese. John Cleese has this British yell, like this British ordering voice that is so awesome.
And he never looks like he's about to smile. Ever.
No. Totally. 100% Team John Cleese.
They seem to all keep
amazing.
pretty good straight faces, too.
Yeah.
Throughout all those things.
He's never punched his pilot.
professionals.
You can see him smiling a couple times.
Well, that particular scene apparently was pretty hard because everybody was cracking up around
Is it Wizabo? That's one of the best lines. I had to look up that word. I was like, what is he even saying to this guy?
Oh, shit.
He has a wife, you know.
You want to know her name? Incontinentia.
Oh, man.
It makes it
Incontinentia. Yeah.
It makes it so much
It's so
funnier
good.
to know that scene, that they were all trying not to laugh in that scene. I think that made that scene so much funnier to know that backstory.
Yeah.
I loved the guy upside down. That was like,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
so lucky.
Yeah.
You're so lucky. The guy's just laying upside down. That was his whole thing for the whole fucking movie, it seemed. That was great.
So John, you said there were some bad skits. What would you say was a bad skit in this movie?
What were I'm trying to think.
And could you think of any, TC? Were there any parts that kind of like clunked for you?
I mean, not that I wrote down or could remember at this point. With my bad memory.
It was relatively speaking. I mean, it was
Right,
more
right,
like, yeah.
Well, there's one part that I kind of got what I was getting at, but I don't know Latin. So there was that one part where he like screwed up the grammar writing the graffiti, and John Cleese as the centurion or whatever comes around and like corrects him and like teaches him as he's a teacher.
Oh, I thought that was funny.
I didn't get any of that. I kind of got the idea.
But you know, Latin is hard to learn,
Right.
So it just was awesome. I thought that was pretty hilarious.
But I got like, it's like, all right, this is happening. And then the scene lasts for 2 minutes and I'm like, it's still happening. I don't know.
It does go on a while. You could say it goes on a while longer than it needed to, I guess. But yeah.
And this is me just being negative. This movie's good. I like this movie a lot.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
I'm just trying to get stuff to talk about.
I don't think you could make this movie now.
You don't think so?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't think it was that like controversial.
Too many boycotts.
I just think there'd be a lot of pushback from like the equality people.
But what was so? I mean, having all men also playing women, that would be probably the biggest part. But
yeah,
for the
white
religion,
men playing women that are making fun of like gender things and lisps. Definitely can't get away with that now.
The stutters and the lisps, that could
stutters
be bad.
and lisps, like
it'd be interesting. It might be. I mean, certainly the film was like banned and protested and what have you. Even though it was financially very successful. So
the people who protest these movies are idiots. They don't realize that like more people are going to go see it because they're like, ooh, I want to see what all the fuss is all about.
Well, yeah, exactly.
They should have.
That was like one of the promos, like whatever, it was banned in Norway. So in Sweden, they'd say the film's so good it was banned in Norway. I love that. I love that that they're just not just that they make these movies, but entire process and surrounding it is just they're willing to be fun and or to be funny and to have fun with the whole process itself as well. I think that's just kind of neat too.
It's really too bad we can't make fun of stutters anymore. As bad as that may sound,
you can't make fun of anything anymore.
That was one of the funniest parts in the movie. I was
thinking
hard.
that's something that probably wouldn't go over so well now. Not the religion. I think you could still get away with some religious satire and whatever, but I think like there are some like making fun of people with disabilities that doesn't sit as well.
No way, not a chance.
Yeah,
just thinking of was it Eric Idle who was playing the stutterer guy? His face when he's trying to say a word and his eyes are crossed, that just makes me laugh.
Have you guys seen
it's such simple shit, but it is funny.
Yeah, a fish called Wanda. He plays a stutterer in there too.
Yeah, that's a pretty good movie too.
And he does quite a good job there too. But
Terry Gilliam is really good in this as well.
I didn't even really notice him.
He was the jailer guy.
Oh yeah, okay.
When what's his name? Brian comes up to him and like he's like, where did you bring him? And then Terry Gilliam is like, we keep the lumps out in the back. And you're like, oh, don't worry, he's meh. And you're just like, yeah, okay, here comes a stuttering thing. And then they start, for some reason, he like puts his hand out and is like he's doing like just a little bit symbol. And then Terry Gilliam just looks at him and is like, yeah. And just gives it a little bit more with his hands. Like, what are they doing?
No idea.
Just riffing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just riffing.
I
That's a
love
good
that
point.
scene. And then he walks out and they have a normal conversation. That was awesome.
Oh, that was so good. Ending song. Could you think of a better song made for a movie than this song?
No, it's a beautiful song for this movie.
And in general,
and the whistling.
Yeah.
You know, adding the whistling is a brilliant touch.
Yeah.
Come on, Brian. Come on. All being crucified.
Yeah. Kicking their legs out like can dancers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I heard that song before I was allowed to watch this movie.
Really?
I mean, it's a pretty popular song outside of this movie, isn't it? I think.
Iron Maiden closes
no
all their
idea.
concerts with a pre-recorded version of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was reading that in trivia.
That's weird. Yeah, my dad was a huge Monty Python fan, so maybe he just sung it, and that's why I knew it.
That's
Was
why
your
you
dad-
knew it,
your dad
from
wasn't-
being a kid.
Yeah.
Was your dad pretty religious too, or no?
No, but he was
It more
raised
your
Catholic.
mom's side?
I mean, weren't we all?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess.
Yep. Boston, Irish,
Yeah, yeah.
Catholic.
Oh,
Right?
yeah. My mom always said, stay away from the altar boys.
Oh God.
She knew before the story broke.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Careful with those guys.
Yeah. See, I got some
What do you
notes.
got? Wait,
Could you guys think of it?
Just some notes and some
I
trivia?
got some notes.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
this could be kind of a short one.
It
'cause
could be.
There's
It
really not
could.
much to
It-
dive into here. There's just like
No.
funny after funny, you know?
It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
There was 2 commentary tracks I listened to, but they weren't great. Even though they were with the Monty Python guys, they just weren't that good. But I
Huh.
got some stuff from it.
I didn't think the film was as fun once he got followers, and that stuff seemed to go on a long time.
Oh,
So
I
if
like
were
the
to,
what do you call it? The guy in the hole, the naked guy
Oh yeah.
with the beard. Did you like that part? I thought that was pretty funny.
What was the beard?
He's trying to get away from the followers, and he goes up to the top of
Oh,
the
right,
mountain.
right. No, he was trying to. He had a vow of silence.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was funny.
and he just starts like
But-
singing and jumping around in the hole.
Yeah, but I think having seen the movie many times, like the shoe, the this, the that, that seems to go on for a long time.
Yeah,
Where I'm like, I don't care. I get that part. I get that part. You know,
Yeah.
that's like less funny to me.
they wanted to make that scene longer too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The gourd was going to break into pieces, and then some people were going to take some pieces, and some people were going to take the others, and just keep it going.
Right.
I'm glad they didn't do that.
Yeah. I think that was less fun. I think at that point, you kind of got the point already. All right, he's got followers, and that seemed to go on a long time. But
Yeah,
still, a lot of crucifixion or freedom.
freedom.
Crucifixion.
Oh, really? Yeah, they messed up. They said freedom for me. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. Crucifixion.
Crucifixion.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Or hey, careful, you. What are you going to do? I'm already going to be crucified.
Or when the guy tries to help him with the cross, like, let me help you bear
Yeah.
that load. The dude runs away. And the guy behind
Yeah.
him's just laughing at him.
Yeah, he's like, I
Yeah.
got you there.
Yeah, it
love
makes
it.
pretty much, light of death a lot, which is good, I guess.
It's
I
great.
mean, I like that kind of humor. So
No, it's
works.
great. Again, it's absurd, and we have fear of these things, and it's great it gives us a bit of power over it, I think, to be able to poke fun at it and poke fun at our fears of it. And even,
Really?
I mean, yeah.
I think death wins every time, John. Death wins every time.
Oh, I'm not
Wow.
saying that the battle is won or anything. I'm just saying it helps a little,
Yes. Too
Oh,
dark?
I see.
Too dark? Did I
What?
just kill
Well,
the happy-go-lucky mood?
Moods
in Monty
killed.
Python movie?
you're
Yeah.
awful.
Awful.
I don't know, Danny. I'm just
done.
worried you've got some more like occult things going on than I knew about.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I like to keep
he's a
those
creep.
under wraps for the most part.
I play for the winning side.
Yes.
Huh? Is that right?
It's better to be on the winning team. Did you guys notice that the some of the edits in this movie when they were getting punched were strange? Like there were jump cuts or something like that?
Fast, yeah.
What was
it
that?
seemed like I don't understand
Just-
what happened.
Bad editing or maybe faulty
Or-
film
or
or I don't know.
crappy-
It seemed like
crappy
whenever
stunts.
they were like mid-hit, it would like cut to another take.
Maybe it's because it was so obviously not a hit.
But then they would
Without
where they
the
film
cut?
like, all right, we're gonna film the first half of the hit right now, so make sure that's good. And then all right,
Yeah.
we got the first half. Now we're gonna film the second half. We're gonna splice them together. So make sure
Maybe
the second
so.
half is good this time.
It was
I don't know.
strange. Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, I noticed that like 2 or 3 times.
Editorial issue.
Yeah. One of my favorite bits, they showed Rome Colosseum Children's Matinee. Loved it. Anyway, sorry.
I don't know. There were some parts where Graham Chapman was trying to be funny. Like he had that one line I thought he delivered kind of poorly, and I think someone else could have done it. Was when he was in the Coliseum talking to that liberation group, and he's like, "How much do you hate the Romans?" And he's like, "A lot." And then it cuts back to the other guys.
I'm laughing now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think anybody else in the crew could have done it better.
Yeah, maybe, but he's a great straight man. I think again, and he's also great in the Holy Grail as being like just the serious one that everything revolves around. And I think it works really well for them. I think it just highlights everybody else being really, really whacked out.
I think he works better in the Holy Grail, and there's a reason for it. My theory is that for the Holy Grail, he was a hardcore alcoholic, could not remember more than a few lines at a time, and they had to revolve the shooting around that. And because of that, you can tell that although he is the center character of the movie,
he's confused.
He's confused and he doesn't say too much. In this movie, he says a lot. Like he cleaned up.
That's true.
He didn't drink during this one.
He wanted this role bad enough that he actually, I think this served as like him really recovering from alcoholism.
Yes. Yeah. So he cleaned up. He could say all of his lines in one take.
He still died when he was 48.
Yeah.
Because of, I don't know
tumor.
if it was related to, it was a tumor that he had, like his tonsils or something like that.
And then it grew back into his spine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Bad
God,
shit.
that sounds brutal.
Yeah. Not good.
I'd rather have crucifixion.
Yeah. Seriously.
If you haven't seen the eulogy that John Cleese gives for him, it's pretty, it's awesome.
I don't want to tear up.
Yeah,
all right?
seriously. That sounds really sad.
Sad shit in my world.
It's actually very inspiring.
Really? Okay.
You guys haven't heard of it? You should look it up. Look up the John Cleese eulogy.
I will watch it after
Graham
recording
Chapman.
for sure.
Yeah, it's moving. It's good.
Nice.
What else you got?
Anyway, now death, alcoholism.
As soon as you were done saying that, John, I'm looking at my sheet.
Wait. Did I chastise you enough for saying it was a good thing that he was a raging alcoholic during Holy Grail?
Yes.
I feel like I should have chastised you at least a little bit.
But
okay, I just wanted to make sure I got that out there.
The fact that he was, and the fact that he had less to do with the dialogue and the plot of the movie made it.
Yeah.
The laughs come quicker than this movie, you know?
Have a drink.
Even if
You'll be funnier.
What about the scene where he's naming off all of the slurs for Jewish people? I didn't think that was funny at all. Like the way he delivered it just seemed, that seemed a little
Yeah, that was a little much.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with that. It's a little much.
Yeah. John, little much? What do you say? Time to hit the bottle? Little much? What do you say?
Ooh, the bottle.
Jesus. Man.
I hate the bottle.
Tough, man. That's tough. I don't know. I'm still rooting for the guy.
Yeah. No, I feel bad because he was like, he's the only guy in Monty Python that died, and he died in a horrible way, which sucks, but it has nothing to do. I mean, it shouldn't remove him from any critical thoughts I might have, I hope.
No, that's fine. You're right. You're totally right. I thought that's his role, and he's supposed to be kind of a little dull, but a little confused. He's not necessarily smarter than anybody else either. I think he pulls it off really well. I mean, that's his role. He's not going to impress you, and that's because he's not anyone special. He's just Brian.
Yeah,
and I think he does that really well. I think that if anybody else in the Monty Python troupe had played him, they would have seemed more special, and it wouldn't have worked as well.
That is a good point.
Well, that's a good point.
It could have been funnier.
It could have been funnier.
It was pretty damn funny though, as it was.
It could have been funnier if he was more confused and even less really wild-eyed. And as you can, we'll see when we get to the Holy Grail. And you haven't seen that either, TC, right?
I feel like I probably have at some point.
Okay.
You've at least heard it quoted a million times by everybody that you know.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen it on TV at some point, rerun or on a movies channel. I feel like I have.
So, John, the reason I paused so much after your suggesting us to watch that eulogy.
Yes, I was worried because it disturbed me.
Because the word, I wrote the word biggest dickus on my paper, and I was just staring at it laughing to myself, but trying not to be audible about it because you were talking about something serious.
Biggest?
I see.
Dickus?
My good friend's name is Biggest Dickus.
It's just so simple. It's so funny.
I still, yeah. And I always see that in my head, and I always follow it with, he has a wife. You know?
It's not even clever. Like, that's the funniest
No, but
part.
it's so good, though. It is clever. It is clever.
It's the delivery. It's the delivery because it's what's beautiful about it, especially now that I know that these actors were trying not to laugh, is that he was just playing this. He was enjoying it. He was enjoying it in that moment of saying he has a wife, you know, and that's awesome.
Did you notice that there was a bad dub job on John Cleese when he says, "You klutz"?
Oh yeah, well that's like one of the trivia pieces
actually,
because he says you.
Did you notice it? I noticed it when I was watching it.
I didn't notice it. I only like learned it in the trivia a bit afterwards.
I saw it and I was like, I bet he just said "klutz" because it looks like he did, and that was definitely a dub job, and they're not dubbing this movie.
No.
So
wow. So he was riffing, said, and then that was that.
Well, they actually wrote it that way.
It.
They didn't really ever improvise the dialogue in any of their stuff. They wrote it pretty exactly. They would improvise like timing and where they were and stuff like that. But the lines themselves, they would say pretty much exactly as they wrote them.
Oh.
And they wrote, but in the editing process, they thought that might get too much negative attention.
Which, I mean, at this point, we've said it like 4 or 5 times, and that's going to get negative
I'm going to bleep it. I'm going to bleep it. You know what word we're saying.
It's interesting. It's more of a British vulgar term than, I don't know. But
it is kind of. You're right, John.
I think it was about the rating, too. I think that there was actually a rating that they wanted to get, and they needed to remove that word in order to get like a less restrictive rating.
Yeah. And they're okay with dicks.
There's like
Bush.
I know there's full frontal nudes that I think when I saw that movie the first time, that's the first time I've seen like full frontal nudes in a movie.
Oh wow!
When I first saw this, because it's totally unexpected.
Where you're sitting next to your parents in the theater, and you're like,
places
"Oh no!"
like India.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
So there were the extras. Many of them were Muslim women that screamed when they didn't know that they would see a naked man appear in the window.
Damn.
Yeah, all those extras were there during that entire scene. They didn't film some of it on a soundstage with a little
That's
window.
kind of messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really messed up.
Yeah, all of the scenes in this movie where there are tons of extras, you have the wide shots of the extras, and nowadays you'd have that would be a second unit director on another day or something like that. They would film, and then they zoom in on the characters, also the one where everyone's laughing at Pontius Pilate. All the close-up shots were filmed, and all the extras were off camera. They shot that all on the same day.
Damn. I mean, the locations were pretty impressive.
And some of the shots were accidental, or at least one that I read about in the trivia, when they're all going, you see all the people returning from the sermon or going to the sermon. That was all the extras just returning to work.
Wow.
And they just happened to shoot it.
Yeah.
That works.
Because they left for tea time, but then they're like, we're not done yet, come back. So then that about tea time joke was accurate to the extras.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I love it. I still love those. I love that title. Children's matinee for the gladiators. So cool. It's so beautiful to put that there.
Wolf nipples, is that what he's selling?
What was it? All kinds of crap.
Yeah.
When Brian was hawking his wares at the Coliseum.
One of them was wolf nipples or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think that the Pontius Pilate influenced the Princess Bride's priest or clergyman dude, the Mowage guy?
I thought that it was I had to look it up to see if it was a Monty Python person, because it made me, I definitely felt like it was
oh no, I remember that from the episode. You thought that, but do you think in terms of writing or creating that character, they took it from this one part?
Sure, why not?
Probably,
why not? Reuse and recycle.
Eric Idle is just brilliant at doing speech impediments. He's just fucking amazing.
Which is something else, really. I mean, it's not a great skill to have.
If you knew somebody and cared about somebody who had a speech impediment, you might not think this is so funny. I mean, you can sort of understand the other side of it in the sense of making fun of someone who's handicapped in some way or disabled or whatever the proper term is. So it's.
I don't think so. Michael Palin is the Pontius Pilate guy, not Eric Idle. Yeah.
Oh, Palin. See, I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so I had to look it up too, though. So don't feel too bad, because I was like, I don't think that's Eric Idle, because Eric Idle's the guy who sings the song at the end, and they don't look
right.
It's tough though, because they all wear wigs and shit. So
and they're all British, they all look the same to me.
Yeah, I think John Cleese is the one that I always can recognize.
Right.
Oh yeah, easily.
Yeah, the rest of them kind of look similar sometimes. Yeah. What else we got here? One of my favorite lines in the movie is, "You haven't given us time to hide yet."
Is that where they're in the room with God behind the barrels and shit?
I thought that one went on a little too long too.
Oh no, dude, that one ended the best way too.
Funny.
He says that, and then Brian falls out of the back porch and lands on like some speech, and then the crowd just starts clapping for him. It's all just really ridiculous.
I love how the Romans come running in and out.
Yeah.
They're hiding behind like the barrel.
The guy sticks his head in a bucket and his legs are sticking out.
Yeah, you can see.
Oh God,
It's so stupid.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
So he says, "Wolf nipple chips."
Wolf
That's
nipple
the
chips.
Wolf
The
nipple
famous
chips.
myth that-
Disgusting.
I'm reading this trivia from IMDb that the famous myth that the founders of Rome, Romulus and Remus, were suckled by a she-wolf when they were babies.
Oh, so there's some actual like imagery, metaphor, whatever you want to call it there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some there's people who scholarly conferences around this movie in terms of the research that they did. The saying that they did an amazing job in terms of trying to match actual things that happened during the time and so forth. So you have wolf nipple chips, dromedary pretzels, jaguar earlobes, Tuscany fried bat, badger spleens, otter noses.
I mean, it's just so dumb.
I also like that one guy, the quiet Messiah guy, who's like, "And the young shall not know where the hammer from their father lies that he put there the night before about 8 o'clock."
Yeah, that was pretty funny. And there were things and other things of things.
Yeah.
That was. I love that. The vague sort of placid guy. Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Now we're devolving into saying the funny things. That's okay.
So there was the Hellfire preacher. Do you know who was originally supposed to be the sort of Hellfire preacher?
Was he the dirty one that was
guy?
first?
Yeah, that was Terry Gilliam. But do you know who it was supposed to be?
No.
So the drummer from the Who.
Oh,
Really?
And he died like when they were about to film his scene.
He died before they filmed, but he was going to have a part, and he was going to play that part.
Yeah,
Ah,
Keith Moon.
What's his name?
Keith Moon.
Yeah, Keith Moon. Yeah.
Shit.
They were partying with him while they were writing this movie. They were friends with him, dude. And they also, so this movie was financed by a Beatle.
By George Harrison.
Yeah,
Damn.
EMI was supposed to fund it, but then they backed out because of the religious stuff. And George Harrison was like, "I want to see this movie, so I'll
So
sell
$4 million.
I'll put my house up, and fund it and finance it." And he started a movie company called Handmade Movies. Handmade Movies?
Wow.
Yeah, Handmade Movies.
How about that, huh? Putting your house up. Like, no, I believe in this. This will work. And we're a band anyways. We're making money. I'll buy another house.
And
We'll
someone
put the
asked
house
him
up. Yeah.
like why he did that, and he's like, "I wanted to see the movie."
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And it was Eric Idle who said, "That's the most expensive movie ticket ever."
Yeah.
That's true.
Uh,
That is the most. Yeah, wow. That's pretty cool.
so these guys were like rock stars back in the 70s.
Yeah, they were. Especially in
But it's
Britain.
still awesome. This movie might not have gotten made if it wasn't for Harrison.
For the
Yeah.
Beatles.
Good job,
Who was
Harrison.
arguably the most religious Beatle. Not necessarily, he was
Probably
not
the why he
necessarily
wanted to see the
Christian.
movie.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't necessarily Christian, but he was very
Oh,
spiritual.
okay. Oh, I see.
So, you guys have any more thoughts? I got some
Not
trivia.
really.
Trivia.
Oh, yeah. Go, man.
So this
Let's
is
hear
just
it.
going to be facty. Chime in, chirp, whatever you want to do.
Chirpy chirp.
Terry Gilliam was going to direct it. He was going to co-direct it. He actually co-directed The Holy Grail, but the whole process, apparently, Holy Grail is an amazing movie. They all hate it. Like, whenever they mention it in the commentary, they all hated the experience, and we can get into it, I guess, when we get to that movie.
Yeah.
But it was really hard because they had two directors. It was Terry Jones and Terry Gilliam, I believe. And they just fought. Like, not having one director means that the directors are fighting and that no one's getting clear direction. So they think the movie was a mess. But I don't know. I think that's part of why it's so good. But
Right. Yeah.
Huh.
I guess like they didn't follow Gilliam as well either. He was more like one of them, I guess. So it was harder to take direction from him.
yeah.
But it's interesting. I mean, it'd be really neat. I don't know, to have like a behind the scenes or another film on the making of these movies, because it sounds like, especially The Holy Grail, when we get to it, it's like there apparently was a lot of chaos.
Yeah. And so the Jabberwocky, I think, was the one that Gilliam went off and directed by himself after The Holy Grail, and working with, quote, real actors. He realized that he hates directing Monty Python because they don't listen to him. Like, he directs them, And they're just like, oh, thank you. That's good input. I'm going to do it my way. Thank you very much.
And they're like, no, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck off. Right.
So yeah, I don't think he ever directed. He didn't ever direct them again. But he was apparently an artistic director on this film. He did the intro. He did like all the animation.
He did the spaceship.
He did the spaceship scene, and he also did the intro scene when all the people were coming in on the camels. The very beginning of the movie.
And
Seems
all the
about right.
and he did. I mean, that's how he got started. I think, wasn't it, for the Monty Python stuff? He did all this animation for them.
Yeah.
And which was always really interesting. And
It
weird.
was. I mean, this stuff was good.
Yeah. He was also the only guy that Terry Gilliam was an American, not from Britain.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. I read that.
I always assumed he was British. Yeah, wow.
I
Good
thought they
fact.
all were, yeah, but apparently not him. The rock they dropped on John Cleese during the stoning scene, real rock,
What?
hollowed out.
Oh,
Isn't that a
Weird.
weird way to do that?
Yeah.
yeah. I think you'd have like a piece of foam.
How'd
or
they
something.
hollow
I
it
don't
out?
know.
Jackhammer, sculptor. I have no idea. They didn't say, but
Right?
yeah,
That's strange.
you seem like that'd be
It
like
wasn't. It wasn't like that scene was real impressive. Like that didn't seem like, I don't know. I mean, it was funny, but it wasn't like, wow, that looked like that hurt or something.
no. They dropped the rock on the camera, and then it cuts to like him completely smushed by the rock.
Yeah.
Kind of. I don't know. Yeah.
All right. Anyone who says Jehovah, I just love it. Any scene where John Cleese is yelling is golden usually anyway. But
the scene where he was vandalizing that castle, that scene was filmed in like a real historical landmark. And they thought that they would be able to remove the paint they had been painting on, but they couldn't. So instead of removing it, they had to paint over the paint with like rock colored paint, and then they left.
Oh, God.
So they-
No, it's good, right? No, don't take a look at
it's
it too
good.
long. It's good.
Okay.
We're good here.
Get out of
It's
here.
good,
Go,
good
go,
here.
go, go, go,
Yeah,
go.
go. Guys, start going. No, it looks good, right? No, look over there to the left. Go.
nice.
Yeah.
I could see them all getting away with it too. It's like, oh, that's how it was in the beginning.
No,
Yeah.
look like that before.
Yeah.
Terribly sorry.
It just turns into a skit that never got filmed.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't cast till just before shooting. So a lot of the people, they all write it together, and then they cast it right before they shoot it. So they don't like write characters with a person in mind. And a lot of the time, the person who wrote it would end up being the character because they would bring the voice along with whatever they were writing. But that wasn't necessarily the case the way they did it. So they kind of just like, all right, you do that. And it's kind of weird too, the scenes where you'd have John Cleese playing two of the main guys. You guys find that weird? There's a scene where like he played the Roman centurion.
I mean, it was Monty Python 101.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair enough. It's a sketch thing, so you sort of go along with it. It's not like a real movie in this sense. It's like, fine, this is Monty Python, so they're going to be doing whatever roles fit them.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, large crowd that Brian was standing out in front of, a lot of them didn't speak English. And the people in the front, the people that were noticeably like, there was like that blonde girl with the bangs in the front, and like three other dudes like right up close, and everyone else was kind of in the background. Everyone in the background was moving their mouth and making the noise that they were being told, but they didn't know what they were saying. And it works because the people in the front do and look like they do. You know what I mean? Is that clear?
I guess.
Now, did I not explain that correctly?
I'm sure you did.
I
was
blinked
kinda
and I
trailing
missed
off
it.
in thought
What was
for a
it?
second.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Try that one
Sorry,
again.
I will try to explain this more clearly. The scene where Brian is addressing the giant crowd, 95 to 99% of the people do not speak English. They are mimicking sounds and mouth movements. The people in the very front
they're
of the
just like-
camera know English,
Right.
and they make it so you can get away with everyone else not knowing what they're doing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I mean,
Oh,
it makes
yeah.
sense.
Done on the
Easy
first
peasy.
try.
And then,
too.
and then
That
all of a sudden
definitely
there was
wasn't
a
the second
naked
time.
man there, and there was like screams of
Yeah.
horror.
The crucifix scene was filmed in the same location as Star Wars: A New Hope.
Oh, no shit, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
Each crucifix was made for each individual person they were going to put up. But the day they were going to shoot, they screwed it up and mixed up the name tag, so nobody had so they all got sized for the crucifixes.
Oh no!
But then they just had to grab one because the person who organized it screwed up, and so they were all really uncomfortable because they were all sitting on like bike seats nailed to the wood. And so like the arm length to the bike seat on some people was too long, so they would
really
be like
wrong.
be getting
Oh,
a wedgie
no.
for like a day,
Well, they did a good job at not making it obvious.
Yeah, they did. And you're supposed to look like you're in pain too, so maybe it helped.
Yeah, maybe.
The kamikaze warriors towards the end, was that scene confusing to you guys?
Oh, totally. Yeah. Until I read up on it, like there was this whole troop of people. There were Nazi Jews or Zionist Nazi Jews. So like they were like extreme Zionists to the point where they made them seem like Nazis, and then that was controversial enough that several members thought that maybe that's too far, but they still are there in the end committing suicide, which is just like what?
Yeah.
I think so I honestly I don't even remember right, but I wrote down the note: Suicide Squad equals terrorism.
Yeah, whatever point they were trying to make there wasn't made.
Yeah, it wasn't made, right, exactly. Like, I was confused more than anything else.
I read, John, so I didn't hear that. I read like a little blip, and they mentioned that like it was a removed scene because it slowed the movie down.
Well, I think they could have argued that as well, but what they had is they were these Jews who, they had like the Star of David, but it had points at the end that made their star turn into a swastika. Oh. So they were these extreme Zionists, and the comedic point was that they were a lot like Nazis.
Damn.
And I think like Terry Gilliam said that he thought, well, we pissed off the Christians, so we might as well piss off the Jews as well.
Jesus.
But there were some people that at least there were the other arguments like, look, we've got enough here. Let's not make
piss
the Jews,
everyone off that's going to watch this movie.
Yeah.
So that was
good
kind
idea. Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So that was why a lot of their scenes were cut. But I think that the bodies were there in the scene with the crucifixion, so they couldn't cut them out.
Yeah,
so
that totally makes sense.
They had to still leave the scene in where they go and die.
They should have done those last, but they probably didn't have any idea that scene was going to be cut when they were filming.
Right.
Yeah. Eric Idle came up with the idea for the end of this movie as well as the Holy Grail. Go Eric Idle, the song.
Go Eric Idle.
Yeah. Brian was originally in the script the 13th apostle and not the guy who was born next to Jesus.
Right. So they had this idea that he would be the apostle that was just always missing all the really cool events.
Yeah.
You know, like the Last Supper or whatever, which sounds pretty hilarious, especially if you knew the Christian
That's
stuff.
Pretty good.
It would be pretty funny. I mean, like, where'd everybody go?
You would mistake this movie for a history movie, the amount that John knows about it. This is great.
I know, right?
Yeah. This is a true story. John Cleese did not like the scene where they were hiding from the Romans.
Really?
He verbalized it. He thought
you feel like it was too repetitive?
No, he thought it would just he thought the rest of the movie was somehow serious humor, and he thought that was kind of cartoonish humor.
Well,
I don't
really.
That's semantics on that one.
I don't know. Sorry, John, but yeah, that
big as dickus, and you're talking about
exactly.
I mean, come on, dude.
Yeah. All right, that's got a real message there.
Yeah. And so the last piece of trivia I'll put is that they filmed when they first screened when Graham came out naked. The director, Terry Jones, said people are going to be able to tell you're not Jewish because he wasn't circumcised. So they got the some, I don't know, makeup guys or somebody on the crew came with a rubber band and put a rubber band over the end of his dick so he looked like he was circumcised in the shot.
Jesus. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
That's like a minor thing that nobody's going to fucking think about. It's like, oh my God, dick.
I don't know.
Right?
Yeah, that's true. But if it hadn't been circumcised, you'd be like, oh, uncircumcised dick. No.
Oh, God, it'd be worse. Like, I don't know. Jesus, where are we going with this?
Yeah.
This is terrible.
Yeah. That's just funny. Someone's job was to put a rubber band around Graham Chapman's dick.
I would assume he had his own rubber band put on by
No, you gotta let a
himself.
professional do that shit, TC.
No,
Come on.
bullshit. Guy goes, hey, here's a rubber band. Make it work.
It's all insurance reasons. There's reasons for insurance. He has to get the guy to do it.
My God.
That's all I got for trivia.
Cool.
John, did you have any more trivia?
Yeah, I think you covered everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, John, would you put this in the top 250?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would. I think comedy's tough. I think it's hard to pull it off. I think I've said that before, but
very few comedies on this list.
Yeah. And so I think that, I don't know, these guys, all of these guys are, and Judith too. I mean, their ensemble is just amazing, and I think it's kind of, I take it for granted just because I've seen it so many times, but I think it's pretty spectacular stuff.
Yeah. TC, what would you say?
I'd say, yeah. I mean, I'm in agreement with John. It's comedies are not relatively high up in the chain compared to dramas and other things. So
Yeah.
this was a good one.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it.
Yeah,
So,
you didn't hate it. And it's kind of old.
There we go.
Yeah, it's a little old.
And I say yes,
I
but
stayed awake.
speaking of old, TC,
God, no, what?
This is the oldest movie we'll ever have watched so far.
What, next week?
Next week.
Oh, no.
Oh.
It Happened
Don't do
One
it to
Night,
me.
1934, directed by Frank Capra.
Wait, it might TC. It might be really short.
No, it's an hour and 45 minutes.
Oh, guess what, guys? My equipment's not working again.
Yeah. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
I broke my computer.
Sorry, I think we're going to have to skip this one
give
to
me
just
a
stay
second.
up and relevant.
Give me a sec. All right, now it's broke. All
Yeah,
right,
that dig's broken. It smash cut to me smashing the laptop.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, can't do it.
This thing's a beast. It's still recording. Die.
Yeah, damn it.
But
Jeez,
I mean,
that's old.
This is an old movie. It won 5 Oscars. So
There probably wasn't anything else around. You know?
yeah, it's the first movie ever, actually. First movie ever made.
There's no
And the
zero
Oscar goes
competition.
to
Yeah,
the
absolutely no
nominee.
competition
The movie.
whatsoever. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so we'll watch that one. It'll be good, hopefully. Oh no. But thank you for listening. Go to our website, mission250filmcast.com, where our list is frozen. Older episodes are there. Everything goes nice and smooth and fast now with a new website. Thanks to John.
That's
suggesting.
awesome.
Yeah.
That means
yeah.
for the customer that was experiencing troubles, it has been fixed.
It has been fixed.
Awesome.
It is great.
See, that's what we do.
Yes.
We fix things.
We solve problems. We take care
That's
of
right.
things.
We do.
Hey.
And because of that, we would appreciate it if you went to our iTunes page, gave us 5 stars and wrote us a review, liked and followed on Twitter and Facebook, and wrote comments and whatnot. That'd be nice. That's it, guys, I think. What do you say?
All right.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah. Johnny, done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, I'm done.
See you later, folks.
All right, Jimmy. See you guys.